It's funny how much of an idiot I look like when I'm reading something for the first time, and I imagine that it's probably that way with most people because if you want to present an article or something as if you actually read it, you would read it more than once. You'd read it a few times, and you'd make sure that you understood every little aspect of it that you didn't understand to start with. Obviously, reading something for the first time, there are going to be points when, I assume that everyone will have this problem at some point in a text, that they'll kind of stumble, no matter how smart they are. Not that I'm that smart, but whatever. Maybe I am. No, I'm kidding. Here's an interesting strategy that I noticed myself doing, and that is when I want to imagine a sine wave, I'm doing the thing with my fingers, doing it with my hand, trying to map it out in front of me, because basically that's what I'm trying to show you, that I'm visualizing such a graph. I don't think I would do that when I'm normally reading. In fact, when I normally read an article like that, if I feel the urge to like get a visual picture of it, then I actually get a piece of paper and I write it down and I draw a little sine wave for myself. And I might write, maxima, minima, and I might write, draw the other one also, not having it available. I assume if this was in a journal or a magazine, they would include a picture or a graph. But yeah, not having that, I feel the need to kind of create it for myself. I don't know if I'm the only one who does that, or if there's different styles of learning that would have different approaches to that. I have no idea. Okay, the next thing that I notice is that when the article kind of brings you out away from the internal structure of it, and it says the other changes may be more related to the general stress of the flight, it kind of questions their own conclusions, and that kind of brought me out of kind of the zone of learning and understanding, and into the zone of questioning and saying, well, what's the real use of this article anyways? What does it have to say to me? If most changes are due to general stress of flight and the fact that you're traveling and away from home, how important is circadian rhythmicity anyways? How important is jet lag when you have all these other stresses happening? And is it even possible to measure or to say that it's there? And that's interesting that just that little phrase can kind of or I think that's what happened to me anyways. I don't know, because this is me reminiscing, and I might be just kind of remembering things a little differently than they actually happened. But I think what happened was that I was kind of accepting and kind of saying, yeah, this is true, this is okay, this is right. And then at that point I was like, oh, wait a minute, they've just reminded me that that we're not actually in this situation, that I'm sitting here reading, and that this is supposed to be science, so there has to be question and doubt, and that. And then they get right back into it, I believe, and they start talking about meals and social cues, I guess going to meetings or whatever else you do on a trip, meeting different people and whatever, parties if you do that, social gatherings, activities, all kinds of things like that. Next, I'll just mention the whole man-woman thing, that I always notice it, even though I know that it's correct to use man and male, male pronouns for both male and female, when you're talking in a scientific journal or whatever. It's still, every time I see it, it still triggers something in my head regarding feminism and something like that. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. Maybe it's good that that's brought up, because maybe that's an important issue, or maybe it's just distracting, as in now I'm spending about a minute talking about this issue when I could be talking about the actual meaning of the thing. So is this a problem? Maybe maybe in writing, in trying to convey meaning, people should use a different form of neutral pronoun. I can't imagine a neutral pronoun though would that would not elicit some kind of thought regarding feminism and masculism and everything that's associated with that. And that's interesting to note because now, you know, when I'm talking about, I would never have mentioned it otherwise. I wouldn't have, because I do always, every time I see it, I think of that, but I put it away. I put that thought aside because it's not relevant to the thing at hand. But if you are looking at constructing meaning and actually, like, you know, what's actually going on while you're in the act of reading, you notice these kinds of things. You notice these little things like, oh, you know, now I'm thinking about gender, and I only spent a few seconds on that then, but now I've spent even more than 1 minute now talking about that. So I won't talk about it anymore, but I think that's an interesting, somebody could pursue that a little bit further. Now towards the end of the video, I have to kind of work through again some logic within my own mind as to what the significance of the difference between eastbound and westbound travel. Like, one takes longer to adapt to than the other, so I kind of have to take a moment and take myself out of the text and kind of examine how that would work logically and why that might be. And I don't know if I came to a right conclusion or not. I think I did, but that was my strategy. Is I had to kind of pull myself out of the text and say, okay, you know, logically, morning, evening, you know, what's going on, etc. And I do that, and you can watch that. So I never did end up looking up the word transmeridian or seeing how they defined it in that paper, or even really considering it that much beyond what you see in the video. So I guess that's because I don't really care about the meaning of the word transmeridian. I mean, I know what a meridian is, and I know what trans is, but as far as the precise meaning of it in this context, I have no idea, and I don't care to learn. Well, maybe now I will. I probably won't. And that's the end of that. So now I'm going to go and check out all the other videos that people have done, and I think Azrinock and Scientific Discussion have done videos already, and I don't know if anyone else is going to reply, but I hope they do. Not that it makes much difference if I say that now, so I'm going to sign off. Okay, see you later. Thanks, Scoutie, by the way. It's been enlightening, and it should continue to be.